Yo, Derek Parker, DP, NBA draft writer and video maker here. Today is episode 3 of the 2024 NBA Draft First Look series. Thus far, we've covered G League Ignite forward Ron Holland and USC point guard Isaiah Collier, a few of my favorite prospects in this class. Today we'll be looking at Buzelis. A preternatural forward, Buzelis is rightfully and consistently mocked in the top 3 to 5 of this class. At 6'11"-ish, he's another in the long line of positionless high-field prospects. The Lithuanian prospect starred for Sunrise Christian in his later high school years and finished ranked 7th overall per RSCI. He signed on to play with the G League Ignite next season. He was another huge get for that program, and despite them already having plenty of firepower, he shouldn't have any problem making a name for himself there. He'll be just a few months shy of 20 on draft night. There's a ton to dive into regarding Buzelis' offensive game, primarily because he can do so much as a player. The key things to note off the bat are his frame, length, and perhaps most importantly, his pretty advanced movement and flexibility. He is not the most elastic prospect you'll ever see, but for 6'11", he's got more general body control than most, allowing him to play more on ball and function as a primary, at least at the high school level. Adding strength to his frame is going to help him in a variety of ways, finishing through contact, positioning himself for shots, defense in general, and that will of course be especially apparent against pros in the G League, but for now he's got a pretty highly coveted skill set frame combination as the league continues to trend towards positionless basketball. I'd say right now, Buzelis can comfortably toggle between positions 2 through 4, and some experts believe he could have legit point forward chops down the line, similarly to what he's tapped into at times in the EYBL and sparingly at Sunrise Christian. He has legitimate face-up prowess. Improving his handle will be a big point of emphasis, and he's not exceptionally speedy to the point he can blow by the first line of defense on command, but his combination of size and feel for the game bring him major advantages that he's able to capitalize on at a good rate. For the most part, he plays within the confines of his game, getting downhill when he can, creating looks off the bounce, or passing out when necessary. As stated before, added strength will really help his finishing around the rim, but this is where his feel really shines through, adjusting on the fly or adding way more touch than your typical near 7-footer. Buzelis' ascension through the ranks is partly tied to his emergence as a shooter in his few years at Sunrise Christian. He doesn't have a picture-perfect shot form, but it's inherently projectable for his archetype in the fact that he made 43% of his three-pointers in his final year there. There likely needs to be a few tweaks made overall, but his height and high release point give him a great base as a floor stretcher. I don't believe simple spot-up shooting of any kind will give him trouble, and there's plenty of wiggle room to improve on things that would make him a potent shot creator, especially given his height. The last thing to quickly touch on regarding his offense is his passing and playmaking. Again, this is where feel for the game can't help but slip through the cracks. He's got some connectivity to him in terms of his overall passing. He takes no issue getting others involved and looks for it with consistency. His general playmaking is another one of those things that, with growth, could allow him to blossom into some sort of secondary down the line. The overall numbers aren't eye-popping, 50 assists to 74 turnovers in his senior year, but the eye test shows some pretty good stuff, and he clearly has no issue making easy reads and navigating the pick and roll. It will be interesting to see how the Ignite use him next season. He's far from a primary creator with hub-like scoring ability, but he's also not an off-ball savant either. While he will assuredly be able to handle the rock and create for himself at times, the Ignite might have to get creative in getting him looks outside of simple spot-up shooting opportunities. But again, his overall profile is extremely versatile. If he can stay active off-ball, and the Ignite scheme to get him involved like they've done with stars in the past, I'm confident he'll hone his on-ball chops enough to cement himself as one of the top picks in the 2024 NBA Draft. Buzelis' defensive outlook right now is very much up in the air. I think his Sunrise Christian tape left a bit to be desired, frankly, but as always, length and feel for the game can carry you extremely far as a prospect, especially on this end of the court. The qualities that make him positionless on the offensive end have the very same effect on his defensive game, but not in an overwhelmingly positive way. He is far from an interior force, but can overwhelm with his length at times and has some of the ingredients to become an average to good shot blocker. 1.5 blocks per game with the Buffaloes substantiates that. He's also mobile enough to extend out to the perimeter, but at times struggles at the point of attack and doesn't have any sort of strong identity out there. He's also going to need tweaking in terms of his general team defense, rotations, help defense, all things that can make or break you in terms of overall defensive impact. But at the end of the day, there is a care factor there, always a positive sign when talking about prospects, especially if it's apparent in their high school tape. Buzelis has the tools to elevate his overall defensive game, and another advantage to going to the G League is that they're going to put you in a good position to do that. So I have full confidence we'll have a much clearer picture of his defensive game in a few short months. Matas Buzelis is exceptionally fun from a prospect standpoint. A rangy 6'11" forward with a gumbo brimming with ingredients. Shooting, passing, shot blocking, playmaking, the list goes on. Improving on any number of those skills could yield a really good basketball player and one that NBA teams would be chomping at the bit to add to their roster. He's set to see a really exciting season in the G League, adding his name along with Ron Holland to the growing list of Ignite players to hear their name called early. Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga, Dyson Daniels, Scoot Henderson, and more. That's it for this one. Please drop a like, subscribe, tell your friends, do what you can. It really genuinely helps me to continue to make these. Let me know what you think of Buzelis, who you want me to break down in my next First Looks video, and we'll see you next time.